A crimson orb alone in the dark sky, dusty, dark, glowing, intimidating, waiting for someone to uncover its secrets. Mission abort. I repeat, mission abort. The GSLV Fat Boy goes down in flames, taking Israel's reputation with it. The Indian Space Research Organization specializes in missions to the moon. But what happens when one idea, one spark of light, reaches the red planet? Hi, I'm Harshi Sanghani, and I'm a sophomore here at Valencia High School. This immense fascination with space all started when I was 6, in a rural village in India on my grandparents' terrace, looking up at thousands of stars, thinking about what lies beyond these sparkly balls of fire, dreaming of going there someday. As said by John Noble Wilford, with a force mightier than gravity, it attracts the eye to the shining red presence in the clear night sky. After a miscalculation on the GSLV Fat Boy, the project director, Momita Datta, gets assigned the infamous Mars Ward, where various missions' lives have ended before they even began. The team gets scientists with little work experience and low morale. Due to budget restrictions, the mission has to go in a PSLV rocket, which only holds enough fuel to go to the moon. But that's when these come in. That's right, who knew these delicious snacks were rocket science? Literally. The gas would be the limited fuel, the booty would be the rocket, and the oil would be the gravitational force of the Earth. By using the fuel to fire the rocket intermittently, the rocket would get farther away from Earth, but still be gravitationally attracted. This would allow for the booty, or the rocket, to still orbit the Earth without using fuel. Each time the gas would turn on, the rocket would go farther and farther away, and the booty would be closer to being done. Then the rocket would launch directly from Earth to Mars, while the booty would be taken out of the hot oil and put straight into a pan. It's a piece of cake. But while this problem is solved, many more arise. By using a PSLV rocket, the load capacity also gets compromised. The question is, how is this complex orbiter going to fit with such a limited load capacity? To make the spacecraft lighter and more reinforced, a composite fiber was made out of plastics and aluminum, which reduced the weight of the orbiter. To make the mission go forward without fuel, solar panels and antennas were added, utilizing the sun's energy to compensate for the lack of fuel. Satellite engineers repositioned this complex orbiter to fit with a narrow rocket. Specific launch dates and a tight schedule were needed to successfully launch the orbiter. But what they didn't realize was that just in the middle of their launch window was the biggest storm that Andhra Pradesh had ever experienced. Critical time was running out, and if it couldn't launch the next day, their mission could be delayed another 4 years. Luckily, with hours left to spare, the weather conditions were finally acceptable to launch. That one ray of sunshine was all it took. T-3, 2, 1, liftoff. Day after day, they fired the orbiter, getting farther and farther away from Earth and one step closer to Mars. But a single miscalculation on its path could have cost $73 million. September 24th, 2014, 6:11 p.m. Mangalyaan insertion, Mars orbit successful. The story of MOM, the Mars orbiter mission, or Mangalyaan in Sanskrit, rested on the crimson orb. The Mars color camera aboard captured more than 1,000 high-resolution images of the surface of Mars, which helped build a morphological map. The methane sensors on board measured solar radiation and methane concentrations in the Martian atmosphere. The thermal IR imaging spectrometer mapped the temperature of the surface and studied the composition and mineralogy of Mars. All of these combined helped publish more than 35 research papers in peer-reviewed journals and helped establish a further context for further research done on Mars. India is the first country in Asia to successfully launch a mission to Mars, being the first one in the world to do so in its first attempt. The Mars Orbiter mission is the least expensive Mars mission up to date, and it's India's first interplanetary mission. The project director, Momita Datta, explained her own experiences and challenges associated with the creation of this orbiter in her own TED Talk in collaboration with the Motilal Nehru National Institute of Technology. To highlight the success of this orbiter, the Bollywood industry made the movie Mission Mangal, which made $35 million at the box office and highlighted the many women behind the success of this orbiter. In April 2022, ISRO declared the orbiter non-recoverable due to communication loss with the orbiter. But what was made to last for 6 months ended up making various scientific discoveries for 8 years. Efforts to Mars have already been made, and in 2019, ISRO announced the creation of Mangalyaan 2 and 3, with the rover touching down on Mars. With the creation of various new space technologies, the future of space exploration will grow exponentially. Maybe I'll be standing here on this exact stage talking to you about various other scientific discoveries in the near future. It's fascinating how the universe allows us to expand upon itself. Mars is there, waiting to be reached. Buzz Aldrin, pilot and astronaut. Thank you.